is filled. Your Excellencies, the Most Honorable Sir Patrick Allen and the Most Honorable Lady Allen, Ministers of Government, Chief Justice, members of the Diplomatic Corps, custodies, family and friends. Thank you all so very much for being here today for the launch of the Shauna Clarke's B.A.S.E Foundation. In 2009, when I realized that something was really wrong with me, whether it was trying desperately to breathe every time I walked up the stairs at home or at the office, or gasping just after walking a few feet, I knew something was wrong with me. And I did what anyone would do in my state. I went to the doctor. I was told I had asthma, and I was prescribed an asthma puff and nose drop. And I took it religiously, but my symptoms did not improve, they worsened. My mother observed my rapid deterioration, and I felt myself withering away. I had no choice but to get a second opinion. My x-rays showed the right side of my chest completely blurred out. It was completely white, which resulted in me being immediately hospitalized at the University Hospital of the West Indies. I can't remember detail for detail what happened almost 4 years ago, but I thought it important to share this with you, as it is what I believe ultimately led me here to this very moment with you here today. When I was in the hospital, I remember a total of 4 liters of liquid being removed from my chest. I remember my parents putting on brave faces as their hearts broke at the sight of me withering away. I remember my husband dropping everything in his then home Atlanta to be by my side. I remember those stares I received in the airplane because I had to be wearing an oxygen mask on my way to Florida. I remember being immediately admitted into the hospital in Florida after we told them my story and they saw the x-rays. It's still very clear in my mind, the moment I was told I had to have surgery, that moment when I finally broke down as the gravity of the situation crept into my mind. And the doctor who sang Bob Marley's 3 Little Birds in his best Jamaican accent to reassure me that everything would be fine. I remember intensive care, breathing into an incentive spirometer to strengthen my lungs, getting back my strength so I could walk 5 feet without being totally exhausted. And I can never forget the excruciating pain I felt when they removed the chest tube that had been attached to me for 10 days. As you can imagine, this drama rocked my family to the very core. My family and friends with their brave faces could not disguise the sheer panic they felt. Why? Because I was an active woman. I was an active woman that displayed no obvious outward signs of sickness. And I remember they and the doctors pondered, could Shauna have contracted an infectious disease? Could she have lupus? Or could she have cancer? I was released from the hospital in Florida, which was a bittersweet experience. I was elated. I would no longer be subjected to hospital food, x-rays and blood tests at 5:30 every morning. But we were still concerned. We were concerned because the doctors released me and they had absolutely no idea what had caused my lung to collapse. And this haunted me and my family because we thought, could my lung collapse again? While I was overseas, the suggestions made by my medic friends re the possibility of endometriosis did not fall on deaf ears. Although I couldn't really pronounce the word, I remember visiting a gynecologist in Florida about a month after my release from the hospital, and I asked him if I could have endometriosis, and he said, no. I didn't work for months, but when I came back to Jamaica, I immediately started my MBA the day after arrival, and I've always been the type of gal who would live her life to the fullest. # YOLO. And on top of this MBA, my then boyfriend and I decided that we wouldn't wait. We would get married. But through it all, my MBA, the wedding plans, I still experienced terrible pain that crippled me, which happened anytime, in any place. So my friends and family couldn't shake the idea that I might have had a gynecological condition. I had chronic pain and I still had a lot of liquid in my stomach. So I sought a third opinion. I visited Dr. Christie, who listened to me explain my symptoms. And he checked the results from the ultrasounds. I was told I had to do a laparoscopic procedure to definitively determine whether I had this thing called endometriosis. So my husband and I waited until after we got married, and when I was on study leave, before my final exam, I had the procedure done. I don't know why I thought this would have been an in and out procedure. I was in the hospital for 3 nights. My doctor said it was pretty bad, that I had stage 4 endometriosis, and it was one of the worst cases he had ever seen. But I remember feeling at peace, because guess what? I finally knew what caused all that drama in my life. Now all I have to do is live with it, because even though it can be treated, there's no known cure. Sometimes when I share my story with someone, as I'm sharing with you today, it sounds quite unbelievable, almost something you'd see in the movies. But unfortunately, my story is not a unique one, and it's not something from the movies. An estimated 176 million women worldwide have this disease. Family and friends, believe it or not, my husband and I are very private persons. We thought long and hard before making a decision to share our story. And when you think about it, anything to do with women's organs, that time of the month, fertility issues, those are topics we don't speak about in Jamaica. And I have to ask why. Why is it embarrassing? Why should it be taboo? We didn't decide to catch endometriosis. It just happened. And it's such an awful disease that not only debilitates us, but it also affects our loved ones who feel helpless as they witness us breaking down physically, emotionally, and mentally. So I stand here before you to say, my name is Shauna Clarke, and I have stage 4 endometriosis. I share my story with you and Jamaica today so that everyone can get a glimpse of what happens to a woman who suffers from this disease. I openly share my experience with you today so that you can understand why an organization such as the Shauna Clarke's B.A.S.E Foundation had to be established. In many countries, in the UK, US, New Zealand, Mexico, to name a few, there are active associations that inform the public, promote research, and provide support to women who have this disease. When I was diagnosed, I longed for that support. But with this kind of association lacking in Jamaica, I sought support elsewhere and became very active in the online community, where I met many women across the world who have what I have. I was not alone. Through support, there is strength. And this is what I received from my friends online. But I felt the need to connect with my Jamaican Endo sisters, to share my Jamaican Endo sisters, to share with them as I do every day in the online community, to lend them the invaluable support that I had received. And that, family and friends, is when the very idea of a foundation was conceived. Our mission is simple: to provide information and support to women who suffer from endometriosis and promote research in the medical field. We also aim to create awareness amongst the general public, women, and the medical profession. We are so happy that Her Excellency, the Most Honorable Lady Allen, in recognizing the need for this kind of organization in Jamaica is a patron of our foundation. Better awareness of this disease is critical. So 2 of our objectives are to create awareness and provide information. We will host events, relentlessly disseminate information. We'll reach out to the schoolers so that they are aware of this disease at an early age. We'll continue to be out there in the social media, and we'll have an interactive website that will facilitate, for example, online question and answer sessions with doctors. Many people still can't pronounce the word endometriosis, let alone know what it is. But I don't blame them, because 4 years ago I didn't know how to pronounce it myself. Since we started our awareness campaign, so many women have been reaching out because they're now questioning whether or not the chronic pain that they're feeling, that they're experiencing is normal, which is what they were told when they were growing up. They're questioning whether the fact they're unable to have a child could be as a result of endometriosis. Of course, they won't know for sure until they visit a gynecologist, but the mere fact that questions are being asked is a step in the right direction. In the UK, as Ms. Salmon had said earlier, the same number of women who have endometriosis have diabetes. But why do we here in Jamaica not talk about it? A friend of mine told me that he had a patient with endometriosis in her brain. So every time is that time of the month, she has seizures. He told of another patient who has endometriosis behind her eye, and when it's that time of the month, she's temporarily blinded. Is this not shocking enough for our society to speak about? This disease, this endometriosis, when you think about it, also has a societal impact. If a woman misses days from work every month, doesn't that affect the productivity of that organization? Will her boss be understanding and empathize with her condition? Or will her boss terminate her services because of her inability to cope with pain she has no control over? According to the Endometriosis Foundation of America, an estimated US $110 million spent annually to treat women with endometriosis. What does it cost us in Jamaica? Women, the Jamaican society and the medical profession need to be more aware of this disease. Too often women are told that the chronic pain is normal or they have PID. Remember, I was diagnosed with asthma. There needs to be a multidisciplinary approach in this diagnosing and treating this disease, as the impact is far-reaching. And I sincerely believe that if we do this, it will no longer take an average of 8 to 10 years for a woman to be properly diagnosed. Our third objective is to promote research in the medical field. This is important. There's a lot of good work being done here in Jamaica, but what are the statistics? How up-to-date are we in current technologies used in procedures and treatments administered island-wide? We have excellent doctors in Jamaica. Lead the charge so we can maintain and be recognized as the place to go for treatment of endometriosis in the region. I remember when I was being treated around the time of my surgery, I had to get an injection every month for 6 months. One injection cost $18,000. How many of our women can afford to pay for this type of treatment if it is prescribed so that there can be some improvement in the quality of their lives? Diagnosis and treatment of this disease are not cheap. So our fourth objective is to provide financial assistance for laparoscopic procedures and medical treatments to women who have financial challenges. The last objective, which some may consider the most important, is to provide support. Women who have endometriosis need the support. I was certainly not going to be defined by this disease. I am an endo warrior. But there are many women out there. There are many women here in Jamaica, here in this room, who are not built like me. They suffer. They really suffer. When our website and our Facebook page went live, we received so many messages and cries for help. One woman said that her best friends were the floor, the sick bay when she was at school growing up, and the bathroom. And she actually thought she was the only one in Jamaica that had this disease. Another shared that she's been trying to have a child for 6 years, and she finally found out she had endometriosis, and that her inability to have a child is too much to bear mentally, and she really needs someone to speak to. One of my endo sisters abroad has gone through 5 jobs so far because of her endometriosis. Why? Because the pain she felt made her take too many sick days, and her boss was less than understanding. So B.A.S.E will be setting up support networks, a helpline. We will train volunteers, connect women with mental health professionals, and allow those affected to share their stories on our website. Because I found when you connect with another endo sister who shares a similar experience, it helps a lot. We started our journey on March 1, 2013, when we were incorporated as B.A.S.E. The support has been overwhelming from family, friends, Jamaican endo sisters, volunteers, and the medical fraternity. We are encouraged and will keep steady on our path. Of course, these initiatives cost. So our fundraising efforts, like the Wear Yellow for Endo campaign, will aid in doing some of the above. Are you wearing your yellow ribbon or pin? If not, they're for sale outside when we finish. But on a serious note, sponsorships, partnerships, and key alliances are critical in really making a difference in these women's lives. So we're asking corporate entities, NGOs, and other institutions to join the B.A.S.E movement and help us help others. Noah, although I've spoken to endometriosis and the women who are affected by this disease, their loved ones also need support. And I now quote from a letter written by an endo sister. When you married us, you didn't know that we meant the in sickness and in health part literally, did you? We bet you were counting on at least a 50-50 split of that combination rather than the 90-10 ratio you got. You are our caretakers, the ones who drive us to and from our doctors, countless surgeries and emergency room visits. You are the ones who hear us crying in the night and see us breaking down during the day. You are the ones who wait on us hand and foot after surgery. You are the ones that go for months on end without sharing our beds with us. You are the ones that deal with our infertility right along with us. We strike out at you when we are hurting and angry, and you take it in stride. You are perhaps bigger victims of endometriosis than even we are. You are appreciated more than words can ever say. I pause at this moment to say thanks to my awesome husband and family. You are my rock. You give me tremendous strength, and I love you beyond measure. I've always held a strong belief of service, and I've always thought that everything happens for a reason, and that in every negative situation there is some good. We get a deep sense of satisfaction when someone reaches out to us and we're able to help them. It is an awesome feeling. The foundation, it's bigger than me. It's bigger than my family. This foundation presents us and other stakeholders with a unique opportunity to make a positive difference in so many women's lives. And I beg of you, let's make the most of it. So here I am, reaching out to you here today on behalf of all my endo sisters and or loved ones in Jamaica. Be endo aware. Please understand our plight, support us, and join us in our battle so that one day you can get back your sister, your wife, or your friend you once knew. This is the Shauna for Clarke's B.A.S.E Foundation, better awareness and support for endometriosis. I thank you.